गुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So dear friends, today we are going to discuss the different forms of yoga and how they compare to Bhakti Yoga. And we will be speaking from Bhagavad Gita, which is the fundamental Vedic text. It is a timeless holy scripture, but historically it was spoken by Lord Shri Krishna approximately 5,000 years ago. Historically, it was spoken 5,000 years ago. But in Bhagavad Gita itself, Lord Krishna says that this knowledge is timeless. I have spoken this many times before, since the beginning of creation. Time, as we understand it in the Western world, is linear. But according to the Vedic understanding, time is eternal and it goes in cycles. It's cyclical. There is Satya Yuga, then there is Treta Yuga, then there is Dwapar Yuga, then there is Kali Yuga, which we are in right now, and then again Satya Yuga. Satya Yuga, 100% population is pious and cultured. In Treta Yuga, 75% population is pious and cultured. And as Treta Yuga continues, there is a progressive decline. In Dwapar Yuga, 50% of the population is cultured and pious. And in the beginning of Kali Yuga, only 25% of the population is pious and cultured. And as time will go by, that percentage will keep reducing until it reaches zero. And then again, Satya Yuga starts. So in this way, time goes in circles. It is cyclical. It is called Kala Chakra. Chakra means a wheel. So that is Bhagavad Gita. It's a timeless spiritual knowledge But historically, it was spoken 5,000 years ago by Lord Krishna to his friend Arjun when he was in a great dilemma. So Lord Krishna, who is the ultimate authority, for example, if you buy a iPhone or any smartphone, if you have any questions, you refer to the user manual that comes with the phone. What if I write a user manual for an Apple device? Bay, would you accept it? No, because only one who has manufactured has a right to give the user manual. That is the authorized user manual. Similarly, you buy any machine, it comes with a user manual, and only the manufacturer can write the manual. So there are so many forms of yoga and meditation techniques and so many this and that. But the bona fide is what is given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, because he is the creator. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Aham sarvasya prabhavah matar sarvam pravartate. Everything emanates from me. I am the creator of everything. So we have to take Bhagavad Gita seriously. So let's look at the pages of Bhagavad Gita and try to understand what are the different forms of yoga. But first, we have to understand what is the meaning of yoga. If we look at the word yoga, etymologically, if you look at the word, it means to connect. Yoga means to connect. Viyog means to separate. And yog means to connect. So yoga means unity, union. And viyog is the antonym. It means disunity or disconnect. So unity and disunity, union and separation, yoga and viyog. Yoga means to connect and viyog means to separate. So the word yoga means to connect. And connect with who? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto, mad yaji mam namaskuru. We will conclude our discussion with this verse, and we will start also with this verse, because this is the fundamental instruction of Bhagavad Gita, and it is so important that Lord Krishna repeats it twice in the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of the 9th chapter and towards the end of the 18th chapter. Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. This is the only verse that is repeated as it is, the only instruction that Krishna repeats as it is twice. What is it? Man mana bhava bhakto. Simple. Lord Krishna is saying, always think of me. Man mana. Mana means mind. Give your mind to me. Just think of me and become my devotee. Bhava means to become, mad means my, bhakta means devotee. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Always think of me and become my devotee. Simple instruction. So yoga means yoga means to connect. And connect with who? With Krishna. Yoga means to connect with Krishna. So now let's see what are the different ways of connecting with Krishna. What are the different types of yoga? So we will be looking at several verses from several chapters of Bhagavad Gita. I hope all of you can see my screen. This is Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, verse number 9. Here, Lord Krishna in this chapter describes what is Karma Yoga. I hope all of you have heard what is about Karma Yoga. Bay, I love the painting in your background. It's Sitaram. Yes, it is so beautiful. Thank you. So this is the 3rd chapter, and Krishna speaks about Karma Yoga. Karma literally means work. Work is called karma. And yoga means to connect with Krishna. So Karma Yoga means to connect with Krishna through work. In this particular verse, Lord Krishna says, Yajñarthat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Lord Krishna is saying that work has to be done, but it has to be done for the Supreme Lord. Vishnu means the Supreme Lord. Whatever work we do, we may be a engineer, a lawyer, a businessman, entrepreneur, an artist, chef, doctor, whatever our profession is, we have to do it for God. Work has to be done for God Almighty. Otherwise, the work will bind us in this material world. If we are not working for God, we are working for ourselves or those who are connected to us, then that work will bind us, undoubtedly. It will bind us. But if we work for the satisfaction of God, then we will remain free from bondage. Work will not be able to bind us. That's called Mukta Sangha. Mukta Sangha. We will remain free. What does this mean? It is very simple. Whatever work we do, it binds us. Think of an example. Imagine someone who has created an industry or some product like Tesla or Apple or Facebook. Any successful product you create, it makes a lot of profits. But then the one who has created it gets attached to it, isn't it? They say, I am a self-made person. I am listen to my rags to riches story, how I became successful. Why? Because there is a certain pride, because there is a certain attachment to that achievement. So if we work for ourselves, then the work will bind us. We will become attached. And in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that if we are attached to this world, then we will remain in this world. But if we are attached to Krishna, then we will go to Krishna in the next life. It is simple as that. Whoever we think of, that's what we will achieve at the end of this life. So work done for ourselves binds us. But when we do work for Krishna, it actually frees us from this world. It liberates us because we are doing it for the satisfaction of Lord Almighty, for Krishna. So that is the secret of Karma Yoga. We do whatever we are doing, whatever profession is there in this world, we can do it. But we do it for Krishna. So the question is, how do we work for Krishna practically? Well, that is called Bhakti Yoga. That is called Bhakti Yoga. Whatever we do, we should keep Krishna. We should keep God in the center. So for example, we earn money. We go to the grocery store and we buy groceries. So what do? We cook nice food, vegetarian, and we offer it to Krishna. Like we have that painting on the wall of Sita, Ram, Lakshman and Hanumanji. We can buy some nice fruits. For example, today I got sumo oranges from Whole Foods. Anyone has heard of sumo oranges? Yeah, so Russell, do you like sumo oranges? Hold on, you'll have to unmute. Sorry.
They're really good, but they're 2 for $5.
They're very expensive, yes. Very expensive, but they're very delicious. Sumo oranges. So today I got some sumo oranges. And in the morning when I was doing my worship, I offered those oranges to Krishna. So that is called working for Krishna. We work hard, we earn money, and whatever we buy, whatever nice things are there in life, before we enjoy them, we offer them to Krishna. Simple. And this, in essence, this principle is there in all faiths. The Christians, what is it called? Blessing? Before they eat their meal. Yeah, something like that. So they offering gratitude to God because of the gifts that life has given. So that is Karma Yoga. Do everything you do in this world, but remember God. Do it for God. Do it as an offering to God. So then it actually liberates us. The second type of yoga is described in chapter 4, and this is called Jnana Yoga. So first is Karma Yoga. You do work, And the secret is you do work for Krishna. Do work. Another example that can be given of Karma Yoga is, think of an ambassador. US ambassador to France. Okay. So this is a US citizen who lives in Paris and is doing work 9 to 5 in the office. But who is he working for? Is he working for the government of France, or is that person working for the government of USA? It's USA, right? So similarly, if we belong to God, if we belong to Krishna, then we may be in this material world, but we are working for Krishna. We are like the US ambassador in France, but working for the US. So we can be in the material world, but where is our love? Where is our affection? Where is our faith? Where is our loyalty? Where is our dedication to the spiritual side of life? So that is called Karma Yoga. You be in this world, but not of this world. It's a question of our consciousness, a question of heart. So that brings us to the second type of yoga, and this is called Jnana Yoga. First was Karma Yoga. Second is Jnana Yoga. Jnana in Sanskrit means knowledge. So this is Jnana Yoga. Yoga, we saw, means to connect with Krishna. So connecting to Krishna through knowledge. First one was connecting to Krishna through physical work. This is connecting to Krishna through something more subtle, knowledge. So let's see what Krishna says about Jnana Yoga, connecting with Krishna through the path of knowledge. This is Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 10. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavamagataha. Lord Krishna is telling Arjun, Vita means to be free from. Rag means attachment. Bhay means fear. And Krodh means anger. Krishna is saying, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha means be free from these three things. Attachment to material things, fear of losing material things, and anger when we don't get material things. Isn't this a story of our life? Either we are hankering for something, when we get it, we want to get a protection plan, warranty, because we are afraid we'll lose it. It will get spoiled. And ultimately, when we don't get something, we get either envious if others get it, or if our plans to achieve something get frustrated. When our plans get frustrated, we get angry. So Krishna is saying, Vita means be free from attachment, be fearless, and do not get angry. Control your anger. And how do you do that? Krishna says, Matmaya mam upashritaha. By taking shelter of me. By taking shelter of me. By getting knowledge about me, getting knowledge about this world, getting knowledge about yourself. Bahavo jnana tapasa. Through this path of knowledge and by tapasa. Tapasa means by penances. Puta mad bhavam agata. Many people have attained me and they have become puta, purified. This is very interesting. The path of knowledge, my dear friends. So please listen carefully. There are three things. Knowledge means three things. Knowledge is not getting an MBA degree. Knowledge is not getting a PhD. Knowledge is not going to an Ivy League or a non-Ivy League. That is not knowledge. This knowledge cannot be obtained in any university of this world, my dear friends. One may go to the top college, top university. This knowledge is not available. And this is the real knowledge. All other forms of knowledge are different shades of ignorance. Hare Krishna. As bold as it may sound, but this is the truth, and I will explain how. Real knowledge constitutes three things. Three questions have to be answered and understood. Number one, who am I? Sounds relevant? Who am I? Recently, I was I was talking to a very high profile patient. I don't like that term personally. All patients are high profile, all patients are VIP. But I was talking to a patient who is rich and famous in Atlanta, nationally. And his child just turned 19, graduated from high school. And as I was doing a little procedure on the back of this patient, just removing a little mole. And we were talking. It was being done under local anesthesia. We were chatting. And I asked, so what's your son up to? Because last time he had told me that he's graduating from high school. So he said, oh, he's taking a break. I said, oh, I thought he was going to go to college. Yeah, but he wants to take a break for a year. Oh, this fellow is a multimillionaire. The child probably doesn't need to work also. Lots of money. But he said that my child is going to take a break for a year. I said, break for what? So he said, high school was tough and he just wants to find himself. He just wants to figure out what he wants. So he's going to take a break. Now, most people don't have this luxury. Take a break at the expense of the parents. But this child is taking a break. So I said, okay. But I found it interesting. He wants to find himself. So I told my patient that actually that's a good question your son is pursuing. He wants to find himself. You know what Mother Teresa said about this? Mother Teresa said, if you want to find yourself, lose yourself in the service of others. But anyway, I like this, that he wants to find himself. So that is the first question, fundamental question that needs to be answered, my dear friends. This constitutes knowledge. Who am I? Am I this 5'7" Adi Gadadhar Das who was born in India, came to US for a better quality of life, went to medical school, did residency, and is now working? Is that me? Well, if that is me, then who was this when he was in India? I was not a doctor. I was a student. Before that, I was a teenager. Before that, I was a toddler. You see? So who am I? Am I a toddler? Am I Indian? Am I Hindu? Am I American? Am I a doctor? Am I middle class American? Who am I? Am I a human being? Well, our scriptures tell us there are numerous historical examples where even the species can change. Someone who is a human can become a deer, and someone who is a dog can become a human being. The soul is eternal. So who am I? Am I this body? No, these are all coverings. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Vasamsi jiranani yatha vihaya. All these designations are like clothes. See, right now I'm wearing a white t-shirt because I am come to talk to yogis. Well, few hours ago I was in the hospital and I was wearing scrubs and lab coat. Before that, when I woke up this morning, I woke up in pajamas. So I've already changed my dress 3 times, right? Since morning. But it's the same me. The dress is changing, but it's the same me. Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita gives the same example that just like our clothes change, but the body remains same, for the soul that lives inside the body keeps changing. The soul remains the same. Birth after birth after birth, until we attain perfection of life. So the first question is, who am I? And the answer is, I am not this material body. I am a soul within the body. You see, when I was in medical school, in the first year of medical school, we have a subject called anatomy. And we learn the physical structure of the body in anatomy, and in physiology, we learn how the body works. And then in biochemistry, we learn the chemical reactions going on inside the body. But nowhere it explains. You can ask this to any researcher or any doctor anywhere. I went to med school in US and I went to med school in India. And nowhere is this question answered. What is the source of life? What is the difference between a dead body, a corpse, and a living body? It's the same body. It's the same chemical composition. What is the origin of life? When the sperm and the ovum unites in the fallopian tube or in the ovary or in the uterus, how does life originate? In biochemistry, in anatomy, and in physiology, if we study the structure of the human body is made up of different organs. Organs are made up of tissues, and tissues are made up of cells. And the cell is made up of cell wall and cytoplasm and nucleus and DNA. And if you further analyze, it's just a combination of lipids, which is fat, carbohydrates, and protein. And if you further analyze, it's just oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen. We are a lump of oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen at the molecular level. So is this Bluetooth mouse. It's atoms and molecules. So is this pen, atoms and molecules. So am I, atoms and molecules. What is the difference between this pen and me? We are both atoms and molecules. If life was just chemicals, why don't we bring those chemicals together and create life in the laboratory? No one has been able to create life. We can clone, but cloning is we are taking DNA from a living entity and then cloning it. No, but can we actually create life? There is one member here called Preeti. Look at her photograph. It's a lotus. Yeah, it's a lotus flower. It's a plant. Can we create a lotus flower in the laboratory? A living lotus plant? No, impossible. No one has created life. We can clone. We can do so many things. We can do DNA amplification and all those things, but we have to take it from a God-created living being. Borrow it. So life is not chemicals. Life comes from soul. In Bhagavad Gita, it is explained, Dehinosmine tha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhira satrana mohyati. We are not this body. Just like the body keeps changing, once upon a time I was a newborn. Then I was an infant. Then I was a toddler, teenager, youth. Now I'm in my middle age, 43. I'll become old if I live long enough. So the body keeps changing, but the soul remains the same. And when the body dies, tatha dehantara praptir, we'll get another body. The body is material and the body appears to be living because of the presence of soul. A computer is dead, but when you have installed software and you connect it to the power source, wow, I can connect to internet and I can see Bay and I can see Russell and I can see Mahesh and all of you suddenly. It's a dead computer. But when it has got power, when it has got Wi-Fi, it's got software, it can do miracles. In real time, I can see you. I can communicate with all of you in real time. Isn't that miraculous? Yes. Similarly, this body is like a hardware. It's dead. But when there's a software and the power of the soul, the body comes alive. The soul goes to the next destination based on its karma. The body is dead. So this is called Jnana Yoga. First question that needs to be answered is, who am I? Second is, this whole world is so beautiful. Now we are at the beginning of spring. Isn't that lovely? Except those who have got allergies, especially in Georgia. Too much pollen here. Car wash is practically useless. You come out of the car wash and there is a layer of pollen. But it's beautiful. Spring is beautiful. And winter has its own charm. When the first time it snows, it's so beautiful. Fall, people go long distance to just look at the fall colors. And summer, oh, I need to lose weight because I'm going to the beach this summer. So all the seasons have their own charm, and the seasons come one after the other. We don't have to do anything. It just happens naturally. The different species, they procreate, they grow. This world is so complex. We were talking about creating a mosquito in the laboratory. We cannot do that from chemicals, just taking matter and creating a mosquito. We can't do that. But Krishna is doing it in the nature's womb every day, millions of species. That's miraculous. Nature is doing it, what we cannot do with so much scientific advancement. We are insignificant. When the hurricane comes, what do the US Marines and the US government tell us? Evacuate. We cannot say, I'm going to fight the hurricane. I'm going to do something, shoot some bullets and make it go away. We cannot fight the power of nature. We are too insignificant. So first question is, who am I? Second is, if this world is, this nature is working so beautifully, the DNA and the whole physiology, the whole anatomy, it's so beautiful. There has to be a creator. If I tell you this iPhone just came about by itself, there's no creator. There was just a blast, an explosion, and it came out. Or there was a pile of paper and there was a blast and a dictionary came out. Webster dictionary came out. No one is going to believe that. It requires a creator. Similarly, this world is so beautiful, it definitely has a creator behind it. Isn't it? The second question that needs to be answered is, who is God? Who is the creator? Who is this intelligence behind this whole nature that we see? That's the second question that needs to be answered as part of real knowledge. And the third question is, if I understand who I am, if I understand who God is, then what is my relationship with God? Do I have some relationship, personal relationship with God? Are we connected? Yes, we are. That is yoga, to connect with Krishna. So real knowledge means to understand who am I, who is God, the creator and the maintainer of this whole world, and what is my duty towards God? What is my relationship with God? So beautiful. When we come to know this, then our knowledge is real. Everything else, scientific knowledge, archaeological knowledge, linguistic knowledge, it's all useless if we don't have foundation of this real knowledge. We can build on this as much as we want, but these three questions should be clear for a human being. Who am I? Who is God, the creator? And what is my relationship with God? And that the Holy Scriptures teach us, that Bhagavad Gita teaches. This is called Jnana Yoga, connecting with Krishna through Jnana. And in this verse that we saw, that's exactly what Krishna is telling us, that Man maya mam upashrita bahavo jnana tapasa puta mad bhavam agata. We have to, this first line tells us what we are supposed to do. We have to give up these things: attachment, fear, and anger. And then by taking shelter of Krishna, we can become puta, we can become purified, and mad bhavam agata. We will develop transcendental love for God. So beautiful. Then we come to the third form of yoga. First was karma yoga, understanding Krishna through action and connecting with Krishna through actions. Second was jnana yoga, connecting with Krishna through knowledge, understanding who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with God. And when we realize that I am an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, I belong to God, and God is my most beloved lover, then we fall in love with God. And that is the perfection of our life. And that is Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. Third path is Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga means connecting with Krishna through the mind, through meditation. That is called Dhyana Yoga, the third form of yoga, meditation. And this is the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is the last verse, the concluding verse of Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, entitled Dhyana Yoga, the path of meditation. Lord Krishna in this chapter describes the process of meditation and then concludes with this very sweet verse. Please listen carefully. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo matah. Krishna, after describing the whole process of yoga, Dhyana Yoga, says, of all the yogis, now we are all yogis, so let's pay attention. Of all the yogis, the one with great faith, Shraddhavan, Shraddha means faith, who always abides in me, Madgatenanta, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental service, loving service to me, Bhajate Yomam, that yogi is most intimately united with me. See, yoga means to unite with Krishna and is the highest of all. Yukta tamo mata. Tamo means superlative. He's the best. Good, better, best. So, tara means better, tamo means best. He's yukta tamo. Yukta, that's where the word yoga comes from. To be united with Krishna. Yunjate. So Yukta Tamo Mata. He is the most intimately united with me and is the best of all yogis. That is my opinion. Mataha means that's my opinion, Krishna is saying. And we saw how Krishna's opinion is most important. So Dhyana Yoga means to meditate on Krishna. And Krishna says that the best yogi is one who has faith in me, who renders service to me, and within himself is always thinking of. Whatever work we do in this world, internally we should be thinking of Krishna. That is the path of Dhyana Yoga. But unfortunately, many teachers of yoga, they ask us to meditate on a candle, on a flame. I attended one yoga seminar way back before I came to the path of bhakti, and they would tell us to sit for 6 hours with a straight back, meditating on the junction of the floor and the wall, where the wall and the floor meets. And I remember I saw so many rats running, scuttering around, and cockroaches. This was in Bombay. In Bombay, the rats are very big. Once they got a cat in this yoga studio to get rid of the rats. And you know what happened to the cat? The cat, we couldn't find the cat. We couldn't find the cat. Then we saw the cat sitting on top of a bookshelf, scared like this, because the rats were so big, huge rats. That was scared. That was a meditation, to meditate on the junction of the floor and the wall for 4 hours and 6 hours. This is waste of time. Sorry to say. This is sheer waste of time. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you meditate on me, you think of me, you chant my name. Satam kirtayanto mam. Thinking of Krishna is the proper use of time. So Krishna is saying, one who thinks of me, that is the best yogi. He's the highest of all. And finally concluding, because we have only 2 minutes left, we go to the 12th chapter, which is entitled Bhakti Yoga. And the topic is Bhakti Yoga. And in this chapter, in the second verse, so the first verse, Arjuna asks a question. Someone meditating on the impersonal aspect of God, just God is just a light, God is just love, God is a formless power. Is that yogi better, or a yogi who directly meditates on Krishna better? That is Arjuna's question in the first verse of this chapter, 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the second verse, immediately, Lord Krishna is replying. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Significantly, Krishna is addressed as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest personality, Supreme Person, Krishna. So Krishna says, Mai aveshya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayo petaste me yukta tamamatah. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjun, those who fix their minds on my personal form, my aveshya mano ye. one who fixes their mind on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me. Nitya yukta upasate. Upasana means to worship. And how? With great faith. Shraddhaya. In the previous course also we saw word Shraddha is very important. Faith is very important. Krishna says, Teme yukta tamamata. Again, yukta tama. Superlative is used. They are the most perfect in yoga. Those who meditate on me, those who engage in worshipping me with Shraddha, with faith. They are the best. So again, in multiple places in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna stresses the importance of Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga means to worship Krishna with faith, to think of Krishna with love, and to render service to Krishna always. That is the path of Bhakti Yoga. So in conclusion, my dear friends, there are different paths of yoga. There is Karma Yoga, where we have to work, but that work is not for us. If we do it for ourselves, then it is called Karma Kand. But it becomes Bhakti when you do it for Krishna. Second is the path of knowledge, and real knowledge means to understand Krishna, understand who we are, and understanding the sweet relationship that we have with Krishna, with God. And that's a relationship of love. That's Jnana Yoga. Third is Dhyana Yoga. And we saw Dhyana Yoga also means to meditate on Krishna, to think of Krishna. That is the best way of doing Dhyana Yoga. Lord Krishna himself says. And the fourth is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means to worship Krishna, to love Krishna, to think of Krishna. So in essence, the other forms of yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga, ultimately they also come to Bhakti, because they come to the point of fixing the mind, focusing the mind on Krishna, and offering our heart and love to Krishna. Bhakti Yoga is a path of love, my dear friends. It's a path of madness. It's a path of becoming divinely intoxicated with love. It's a very sweet process, and it has to be experienced. It cannot be described. Suppose I go to India and I eat the Alfonso Ratnagiri mango, which is considered to be the best in the world. It's the juiciest, sweetest, most aromatic, nectarian form of mango. And then Bay asks me, Adi, can you describe to me the taste of Ratnagiri Alfonso mango? Oh, it's so hard. I can use so many adjectives. I can use so many words. But better I just give her one, right? You know what, Bay? I got one for you. How about that? Here it is. Taste it and relish it for yourself, and you'll understand. Then when she's eating, then when I ask her, so how's the taste, Bay? Just eat it. Just eat it. The proof is in eating the pudding. The proof of the pudding is in eating it. Like that. That is bhakti. It has to be experienced. It cannot be described. It is called anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniya means it's indescribable. It has to be experienced. It's a path of love. If you ask, if a small child, let's imagine there is a man and a woman and they are in love and they're about to get married. And a small little 4-year-old toddler, 3-4-year-old toddler goes and asks them, what is love? Can you describe what is love? What is it that you feel for each other? Why do you want to get married? What will the couple say? Oh, you have to grow up and you have to experience it for yourself. Then you'll know what is love. So similarly, bhakti is a path of love. It has to be experienced, and then the life becomes perfect. Then we understand that all other paths are actually meant to bring us to the path of bhakti. It is the culmination of all paths. So there are many little small roads, and then they come and merge into the interstate. And the interstate takes you to the destination. So these different paths like Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga are like the small roads. Ultimately, they have to come and merge with the interstate called bhakti. And then bhakti takes you to Krishna. And that is the final thing I want to share. It is the very conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, my dear friends. This is the last verse, I promise. This is the 18th chapter, the last concluding chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And very quickly, I would like to share with you Just two verses, verse number 64 and 65. In verse number 64, Lord Krishna says, Sarva guyatamam bhuya shrunu me paramam vachah ishtosi me dridham iti tato vakshami te hitam. This is very, very important verse, one of my favorite verses of Bhagavad Gita. Because Lord Krishna is sharing his heart. He's telling Arjun, listen carefully, Arjun. Sarva guhyatamam. I'm telling you the most confidential secret. Again, I'm repeating it. He says bhuya means again. Because in the 9th chapter, already Krishna has given this instruction. Man mana bhav mad bhakta. Think of me, become my devotee. Shrunu me. Please listen to me carefully, Arjun. Krishna is, when a speaker, orator has to say something and he really wants the audience to grasp that particular point, the speaker will say, my dear audience, please listen carefully to this point. He'll stress, he'll bring everyone's attention. Krishna is doing that. Shrunu me. He's saying, please listen to me, Arjun. This is paramam vacha. This is my most important instruction. My most important instruction. You know, when a mother sends the child for the first day trip, the mother is anxious, right? Oh, my elementary school kid, I hope he or she doesn't fall, doesn't have some accident, doesn't get into trouble. So we'll give so many instructions. And then as the child is getting into the school bus, the mom will give the final instruction. Don't talk to strangers and stay with your school teacher, okay? Don't go here and there, stay with the group. The bus will take off. So what the instruction that the mother gave at the very end is the most important. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke 700 verses, lots of knowledge. But now Krishna is drawing Arjun's attention. Listen, Arjun, I'm going to give you paramam vacha. Means I'm giving my supreme instruction. Listen, my dear Arjun. Why am I repeating this instruction, bhuya? And why am I giving you paramam vacha, my supreme instruction again? Why? Te hitam. For your benefit. Oh, Arjun, it is for your benefit that I'm speaking this. Please listen carefully. Are you ready? That brings us to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. The final instruction. Verse 65 and 66. But we'll just do verse 65 because of time. We don't have time today. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Always think of me, manmana. Bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru, and offer your obeisances to me. Bow down to me. Krishna is telling Arjun. This is the final instruction. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and bow down to me. Offer your respects to me. What will be the result? Mam evashyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. I'm telling you, Arjun, priyosime, you are very dear to me. If you do these 4 things, manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, you think of me, you become my devotee, you worship me, and you offer your respects to me, mam evashyasi. You will come to me. Guaranteed. You will come to me, Arjun. Please do these things. You will come to me. This, my dear friends, is the path of bhakti. Priyosime. To become dear to Krishna and to make Krishna our beloved. It's a path of love. It's a path of love. So this is a supreme instruction of Bhagavad Gita. To fall in love with Krishna. To fall in love with God. And Krishna has 2 aspects. This is also explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Radha Krishna Radha Krishna. What is that? The Pranam. Radha Krishna Eka Atma Dui Deha Dhari Anyonye Vilasa Rasa Aswadana Kori. Radha Krishna Eka Atma. Radha and Krishna are 2 forms of God. Shri Radha is Sita there with Be. She's Radha with Krishna. Radha and Krishna, Sita and Ram, they are actually one. But Anyonya Vilasa Rasa Aswadana. Aswadana means to taste. To taste the sweetness of a loving relationship eternally, that one God is in 2 forms, Radha and Krishna. A male form and a female form. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? And Radharani is the most loving mother to all of us. She's always there to protect us, to save us. All bhakti, we're talking about bhakti yoga. Bhakti means Radha. All bhakti comes from Shri Radha. So Radharani is always there for us. So God has two aspects, a male aspect and a female aspect. Female aspect is called Radha and male aspect is called Krishna, Radha Krishna, Eka Atma. But Dui Dehadhari, they have taken two forms. Anyonya Vilasa Rasa Aswadana Kori, to taste beautiful, loving relationship with each other. They are like that. So this is our path, to fall in love with Radha and Krishna and to go to their abode eternally, where there is no birth, no death, no disease, no old age. And this is not some fairy tale. They lived happily ever. This is a fact, and it has to be experienced. And by practicing bhakti, we will realize this in this very lifetime. Our relationship with Radha and Krishna will be revealed to us simply by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is Bhakti Yoga. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I will stop here. Sorry I went over time. But if there are any questions, we can take. Hare Krishna. Thank you. One second, I will allow you to unmute. Anybody who wants to unmute can raise your hand or unmute.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that wonderful class. We could feel that you are tasting the sweetness in bhakti with your lecture.
I am like that dog. In India, there are many stray dogs, many stray dogs. And Krishna is a thief. We know that. When he was little, he used to steal butter. He's called Makhan Chor. Then he used to steal the clothes of the gopis. Dukula Choram. He steals Radharani's heart. Shri Radhikaya Hridayasya Choram. Chauragra Ganyam Purusham Namami. He is the greatest thief, Krishna. In India, when the dogs, there are different lanes, and each lane has their own dogs, and they protect their lane. But if a thief comes in a lane, a dog of that lane will see the thief and boo, 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 starts barking in the middle of the night. You have heard that in India? And then the neighboring dogs who live in different lanes, they will hear and boo, 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 they will start barking. And suddenly there are like 50, 100 dogs barking. Now, if you ask a dog, hey, have you seen the thief? No, I have not seen. But I heard somebody else saw. You go to the next lane. Have you seen the thief? I didn't see, but next lane dog barked, so I also barked. Ultimately, you go to the dog from that lane who has seen the thief. So we are like that. I'm barking, but I have not realized Radha and Krishna. I have not realized my relationship with them yet. But I am a student of those who have. So Srila Prabhupada has. So that's why I'm barking. So don't think I have seen the thief. I have seen Krishna. I have not. Hare Krishna.
You're very humble, Prabhuji. If anyone has questions, please unmute and speak. Or any comments.
I don't have a question. I really want to thank you. It's such a privilege for all of us to be here in your presence. And like Mahesh Prabhu just mentioned, we can feel your love and your passion for, your own devotion. And it's contagious. And I thank you. My heart is full right now. I'm so honored to be here in your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So if
anybody else has any question? Ying, usually you have some questions. Any questions today?
No, I don't have any questions today. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Well, if there are no more questions, I would like to thank you, Prabhuji, for taking the time today from your
Hare
busy
Krishna.
schedule. I hope that we can hear from you again sometime in the future. And I thank all of you for joining and listening to Prabhuji. And we will see you again in the future, next meeting, probably next Saturday. We'll announce the meeting again. Thank you so much. Hare